Here's Jim Bob with what he thinks is a gotcha question for atheists.
You know how atheists say, I see no evidence for miracles? Well, I wonder if this is true under their view. Is it possible that atheists believe in miracles without even realizing it?
No, because a miracle is something God does, and atheists, by definition, don't believe in God.
Let's find out. What is a miracle under the atheist view? I've defined it as the following. A miracle is an event or phenomenon that cannot be explained by the laws of physics.
That would be a weird definition for a theist to use, because such a definition would allow the possibility that miracles occur even if God doesn't exist. There may be things that can't be explained by the laws of physics, but perhaps these things that can't be explained by physics can't be explained at all. Maybe they can be explained by neither physics nor God. If a phenomenon is neither the product of physics nor something that God did, why would you consider that a miracle? Do you really think it's possible for miracles to occur without God? The definition of miracle that you stipulated doesn't rule that out.
This is not referring to an event we have not yet explained by the laws of physics. It's an event or phenomenon that definitionally cannot be explained by the laws of physics. Let's make that definition premise 1. Given the definition in premise 1, is there anything under the atheist view that cannot be explained by the laws of physics? Let's see, how about lightning? Nope, we can explain that. How about the venom production in a platypus?
Oh, it's so cute. Ah!
Nope, we can explain that. It seems like anything we point to in the natural world can be or could eventually be explained by the laws of physics. So, is there anything we can point to that can't be explained by the laws of physics? What about the existence of the laws of physics themselves?
Perhaps, but if the reason the laws of physics exist is neither because of physics or God, why would you count that as a miracle?
Can the laws of physics and the regularity of nature explain their own existence? I don't think so. So we found something under the atheist view that can't be explained by the laws of physics. The laws of physics and regularity of nature cannot explain their own existence.
Can God explain his own existence? If not, does it therefore follow that there is some super God that created him? If God can explain his own existence, why couldn't it be the case that physics will eventually explain its own existence? If you don't think that God needs an explanation, why does physics need an explanation? If you think God exists by some kind of causeless necessity, why can't physics exist by causeless necessity?
We're going to add that as premise 2. So let's take a look at our argument so far. Premise 1. A miracle is an event or phenomenon that cannot be explained by the laws of physics. Premise 2. The laws of physics and the regularity of nature cannot explain their existence. Conclusion. The existence of the laws of physics and regularity in nature is a miracle under the atheist view.
I'm not sure why the regularities in nature would need an explanation. If we measured the speed of light and found that it is different today than it was yesterday, it would make sense to ask what caused that change. But if we measure it today and discover that it's the same as it was yesterday, then it does not make sense to ask for an explanation because nothing happened. What is there to explain? In fact, if the speed of light did change, many theists would call that a miracle. So it's a miracle if the regularities of physics change, and it's also a miracle that they don't change. You see the problem, right? The very concept of a miracle is meaninglessly non-falsifiable.
Now, what are the responses we can expect from the atheists? One might be, well, just because we haven't yet explained how we have those laws doesn't mean we won't eventually discover an answer. Duh.
Also, even if we never discover an answer, and in fact, even if we definitionally can't ever find an answer in physics, it would not follow that the correct answer is God. The way you've defined miracles allows the possibility of miracles occurring even in a godless universe.
Well, the reason this isn't a valid counter to the argument is because any causal chain you posit would be bound by the same laws.
Therefore, you need magic, right? Is that what you think logically follows? Do you think that this is evidence that the supernatural exists?
To say a previous set of laws of physics produced the current laws of physics is to assume a process that adheres to the laws of physics, which is also producing those laws while abiding by them. Another counter could be, I reject your definition of a miracle. Well, this could be a fair counter depending on the reasoning.
The reason I reject your definition of a miracle is because I don't even think you use it. I don't think you thought it through very carefully. As I previously explained, your definition of a miracle leaves open the possibility that miracles can occur even if there is no God. I don't think it's very likely that you believe that miracles can occur without God existing. If you still want to hold to that definition, I will admit that I think maybe miracles of this kind do occur, but this in no way contradicts my atheism because your definition of miracle is perfectly compatible with atheism.
However, any argument against biblical miracles would have to appeal to the suspension or violation of the known laws of physics.
Well, more specifically, it would have to point to the fact that the possibility that the authors of those stories were lying or mistaken or did not intend the stories literally is vastly more probable and thus a more credible explanation for those stories. I think this is true even if there is a God. Even if there is a God who is capable of flooding the earth, fictional stories about floods clearly outnumber the occurrence of actual global floods. Fictional stories about talking snakes are clearly more common than actual talking snakes. Fictional stories about resurrections clearly outnumber actual resurrections. Even if there is a God who does miracles, he seems to do them so infrequently that the stories about miracles in the Bible are still more likely to be fictional than true. Also, violations of the known laws of physics do, in fact, occasionally happen. The law of conservation of parity was observed to be violated as it was understood at the time. The scientists who observed this did not declare it to be a miracle. They simply revised the law to carve out an exception for the observed violation. This is another problem with the concept of a miracle. How can we tell the difference between seeing a miracle and simply discovering that a law of physics has been wrong all along?
I could be wrong here, but I don't see any way a naturalist could reject the premises.
The reason I reject the premises is because I don't think that you, a supernaturalist, actually believe the first premise. If you do, then you believe that the occurrence of miracles is perfectly compatible with atheism.
And if they accept the premises, the conclusion that follows is that they do in fact believe in one miracle.
If I believed in a miracle as you define it, that belief would in no way be contrary to atheism.
The irony here is that the one miracle which the atheist accepts is the standard by which they reject all other miracles.
When the laws of physics are broken, that's a miracle. When they're not broken, that's also a miracle. How convenient to the theistic worldview. If there were no regularities in nature and everything changed all the time, theists would call those changes miracles. When nothing changes, they'd call that a miracle too. So the existence of miracles, as theists conceive of them, is indistinguishable from their non-existence, rendering the entire concept meaningless.
His basis for rejecting miracles is itself a miracle under his own view. So, if you're an atheist and you have issues with this argument, let me know in the comments or just make a response video. If you found value in this video, please like and share.
What do the words arguments against atheism have to do with this video that in no way argued against atheism? To everyone who helps me out on Patreon, you're a big help. Thanks so much.